Hey everyone, welcome to today's Sip and Share. I am sorry this video is a day late. I mentioned this on Instagram. I had a really hard time finding some time to sit down where it was quiet. Oh, let's not shake the whole table. Yesterday was just a really noisy day, and usually I film these either on Tuesday or on Wednesday when they go up. Just depends on what my days look like because my Tuesdays are quite busy. But yesterday our house was so loud and I just couldn't, there was no time to sit down and film it without like walking above us and like doors closing and people talking, so it just didn't work out. So here we are today on Thursday, the day you're watching this. Hopefully, maybe, perhaps, depending on what time I get this out, maybe you'll catch it on Friday. This is one of my very favorite teas and it just makes me so happy to smell it. Right here, by the way. It is chai green tea. I think I'm gonna make a batch of this myself because it smells, it feels like summer but it smells like Christmas. Does that even make sense? I don't know, it's so cozy and I love it. It just brings me so much comfort. I love a good cup of tea. Okay, you guys, today we are going to be talking about homeschooling. And every couple months I feel like I do a video about homeschooling, which is good. It's always an interesting conversation. It's always something a lot of people are quite interested in. But I just wanted to talk about what we're doing because we are going to be doing something differently, or everything differently, kind of, starting next year. So basically what's going on is we've just discovered what works for us and what doesn't, and I always say this, or I always like try and tell people this, because I feel like it's a really important thing of homeschooling that not everybody talks about. You are always going to be changing and evolving. And as your kids get older and interests change and life changes, sometimes you just need to kind of go with the flow and things just change. So that's kind of what's happening with us, and I'm going to get into this a little bit in a second. So if you've seen my past probably 2 to 3 recent homeschool videos, you kind of know the general idea of how we homeschool. So what we've been doing for the past couple of years, I do something that I call the 3 things method, which is just, it helps me organize blocks, so we don't use a specific curriculum or anything. I pull from a lot of different sources, and the 3 things method, it's just a main lesson block, handiwork or handicrafts, so this is just like doing things with your hands, baking, piano lessons, just hands-on learning. And then something that's called heart, which is, we use that for nature studies, character building, growth mindset, poetry, a whole bunch of stuff. So every day I just get to like pop things in. Every day is a different, those 3 things change. And that's what we've been doing, and it worked out really well. I still love my 3 things method. I'll probably incorporate that into next year. Sorry guys, if there's just little cutoffs, it's just because I'm getting interrupted. I've been interrupted 3 times now, which is fine. It's just, this is what I'm talking about, where it's kind of difficult to film these sometimes because I want it to actually be light out, because our lighting kind of sucks at night, but nighttime is kind of the only time I get any quiet. But anyway, the 3 things method was really lovely and I really enjoy it. We were very much, we're definitely eclectic homeschoolers, but we were in the past kind of Charlotte Mason inspired, a little bit Waldorf inspired. In the early days we were a little bit Montessori inspired, and a little bit of some other things sprinkled in there. So over the past probably 2 years, we've naturally started to progress in a certain direction. And although what was working before is really, I really love it, I feel like we've evolved and we're just ready for something different. The change, what we're going to change into feels more us. Like, this is what I'm talking about when I tell people that you're always going to grow and you're always going to evolve and you're always going to change. Because you do, naturally, as a family and as people, and things just work better than other things, or maybe you find a better attachment or a better purpose in some methods or styles. And that's what's happened with us over the past like 2 years, I found. So the plan is next year to switch almost completely Waldorf. I say almost completely because I love so many things about Waldorf. It feels very much like what we've been already doing. We've just naturally progressed to Waldorf, and it fits in with our normal life so well, with the rhythms and the nature-based teachings, and so many things about it just feel like the exact right fit. But there are definitely things that just aren't so much for us, like anything, which is kind of beautiful about homeschool. You just get to adjust and customize things that fit to make it fit you. So there are definitely things that just, that's why I say Waldorf-ish, because I'm not a Waldorf elitist or purist. I will never be. I've never fully aligned with anything that hardcore. And I feel like there's definitely some like to like some of the purest Waldorf stuff. That's no hate on anybody. It's just like with anything, when you get like a group of like, this is how it should be exactly all the time, and that's not Waldorf, so that shouldn't be in your house, or that's not Montessori, or this blah 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 blah. I'm not into that. Like, we still utilize video games and technology, and I think that's a very important piece of my children's education, which is probably a whole other topic. I've been asked to talk about this a couple times, just because like our kids are growing up in an age of technology, and I feel like it's kind of wrong to stunt them from that, or keep them from it when they are adults. It's going to be so, like, such a huge part of their world, even more than it was for like myself growing up, or my husband. Anyway, that's kind of off topic, but we feel so pulled towards Waldorf. And the thing with me is I am definitely not somebody that can unschool. I need structure. My life is too busy to not have structure. We're such a big rhythm family. Like, we thrive on our rhythms. They're so important to us. That's how our days flow. So many of you are like, Rainbow, how do you do it all? This is how. It's because rhythms are so important. We have our morning rhythm and our afternoon rhythm and our evening rhythm, and everything can be adjusted and fit to work for us. It just really feels like we're already moving towards that, and since it's totally me, which some people will think like, I know there are some homeschoolers out there who are like, oh, it's like not about you and you shouldn't, but at the same time, I'm the teacher and I'm the one responsible for my children's education, and if I need structure to give them the education that they deserve and that they need, then that's what needs to happen. It's just what it is. So I definitely need structure. What we were using before, I don't like a lot of curriculums. I don't like any mainstream curriculum that I've seen, like any of the like normal, for us, like the Canadian curriculums and stuff. There's just so many flaws and so many inaccurate pieces. We were kind of going off like as a spine, the Canadian curriculum, but this is why I've been struggling with homeschooling lately in the spring. I've talked about it a little bit, probably not so much publicly, but we've definitely been struggling because there was just so many gaps in the Canadian curriculum and so many inaccuracies and so many just honestly crappy methods of teaching that both Mackenzie and I became so frustrated with it and so annoyed by it that we just ditched it probably a month and a half, 2 months ago. And now we're just winging it for the rest of the year because I'm not quite ready to go full Waldorf yet because I need a structure and I haven't chosen what that's going to be, because it takes so much planning and so many resources to create your own curriculum, and I just feel like if I do that too much, like completely, then I'm definitely going to miss areas that shouldn't be missed. And I've tried before and I felt like I was missing points that I want my kids to be able to touch on or to be able to hit. Because for us, the goal of homeschooling is to educate them in an enriching environment, give them a very enriched and lovely childhood and life, but also give them the tools that they can take into the world to go to college or university or any sort of post-secondary school that they choose, and be able to have a career in any sort of field that they would like. And for me, I don't think that I'm setting them up for the best opportunities if I am just flying by the seat of my pants and going like the unschooling approach. It's just not my, I just can't run my house like that. And you know, I'm totally fine with admitting my faults where they are, and that is definitely, or not my faults, but like my weak points. It's definitely a weak point for me. So that's kind of why I've been a little bit frustrated with homeschooling right now, because I feel like we're in limbo. I'm not ready to commit to a certain curriculum yet. I feel like there's a lot of information I need to gather. I still have tons of research to do before I commit to one. And I don't even know if we're gonna go full curriculum, or if I'm just going to get like maybe a cheaper curriculum that has a general guide, because that's all I need. I don't need a curriculum, I need a guide. I just need something that's like, here's a unit you can work on, and then I can easily fill all that in. It's just I need the backbone of it for my brain to be able to tick everything off and accomplish everything. It's just, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, because every time I've talked about this with other homeschooling families, they've all been like, yes, I agree. So, yeah, that's just kind of the difficult thing that we've been experiencing right now. Anyway, I feel like I've kind of gone off on a little bit of a few different side paths here, but the general idea and the general shift is definitely more Waldorf, like way heavier Waldorf, than we've previously been. I'm just kind of gonna dive right into it. There's so many things I love about Waldorf. There's definitely some things I don't love, and I don't know if this is maybe the most appropriate space to talk about what I don't love. I don't know if that's even interesting to anybody, but the plan is for next fall to switch over to full Waldorf, as much as we'll go full. You know what I mean, right? Is to switch over to that and to create a new system and kind of scrap a lot of what we've been doing, ditch the curriculum we were using as a backbone or a basis. And yeah, but I've got the summer and the spring to figure it out, because I have to, there's some curriculums that I'm looking at. The thing with Waldorf curriculum is they can be incredibly expensive. Like, I get it, but to me, it's like, what? This is a curriculum, like, that's for one grade. It can be ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie. It can be ridiculous. And I don't know if I'm willing to spend that much money on something that I'm only going to use pieces of, or I'm not going to use pieces of. If I'm going to spend that kind of money on a curriculum, I want to be able to use the whole thing and agree with the whole thing and like the whole thing. You know what I mean? So there's a few options I have that I'm looking into. We're also having our facilitator meet with us tomorrow, which we're really excited about. And hopefully she'll have a couple more resources for me, or just direct me in a way. I don't know. I always feel better after talking with her, so I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, that's kind of generally what we're doing right now. We're kind of just switching things up. So we're definitely in a limbo area right now. We're totally unschooling-ish right now, which I don't have a problem with, because we're already almost done. Like, we usually finish up our school year in May, which is only a few weeks away. So right now our days are just full of a lot of the fun stuff and just unschooly things, which I'm totally good with. It's just, this is not something I could maintain all year. This is just because I don't know what to do, because we've ditched the career. It's so bad we ditched it, and I'm not picking it up again. I won't do that to us. It's awful. So I feel really good about the change and about what's happening and where we're going. It feels right. Like, it feels like we're coming home to where we're supposed to be in our homeschooling area. I don't know if we're going to stick with Waldorf for the duration of our homeschooling, I feel like I could never answer that question because you just never know. But I definitely feel like we'll always, so many things with Waldorf tick off life boxes for us. Like, there are just so many similarities in how we already live our life and the way, the kind of like morals and values we follow, and very similar, like, to tie in with like belief systems, and it just works. So I think we'll always be closer to Waldorf. But I'm really excited to try. This is going to be a trial year, I think, because Mackenzie is kind of in between grade. I say Mackenzie because Grayson is going to be entering like kindergarten for all intents and purposes in the fall. So he's not really like fully schooling yet. He's still like preschool age. So that is why I focus these conversations on Mackenzie for now. But next year I will be officially schooling 2 kids, which will be, I mean, I've done it already, but it's different when it's like official, like you're entering the first stages of the elementary grades. Anyway, I'm a little bit nervous about that. Not nervous, just a little nervous, interested in how I'll balance it. It's going to be an interesting year, that's for sure. And next year's going to be, there's just so much going on. I've got a lot to balance in my life, and I'm confident that I'll be able to do it, but I'm also interested to see how I'll do it, if that makes sense. So yeah, because Mackenzie is kind of, if we were going to talk about grades, she's technically a grade ahead of what she would be if she was in public school. She is working at a grade above what she would be in. And because of that, she just skipped one of the grades completely because she just didn't need to touch any of that. It was too slow for her. So because of that, I feel like we kind of are gifted this year to try it. If we're going to do this, this is the best year to try things, because Waldorf is very much based in where children's brain development is, instead of like academically where they're at. So I feel like we kind of are gifted this year of trying this out, and if it doesn't work, oh well, we didn't lose anything. And if it does, then great. Because developmentally, I probably am going to start her at her age and not the grade she's been working at, if that makes sense. I keep shaking the camera, I'm sorry. So that means next year would probably, I'm thinking, I haven't made a full decision on this yet, but it's kind of where I'm going towards right now. So next year we'll probably do grade 3 Waldorf with her, even though if I was continuing to do what we've been doing, she would be going into the 4th grade academically. Yeah, so that's kind of just where we're at. And I know I've mentioned this a couple times on Instagram, and I've gotten a ton of like DMs of people asking me to talk about this or kind of chat about what we're doing. And because it's nothing is solidified yet, I don't have my final plan. This video might be kind of just weird and too chatty and all over the place, and I can appreciate if that's not interesting to watch. But if you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments down below, and I will either answer them there, or maybe if there's enough of them, maybe I'll do a separate video answering some of your questions for next week's Sip and Share or something. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions for me, but that's kind of where I'm at, and I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update about how things are shifting and how we're changing things. I'm really excited. It just feels like where we're supposed to be. So for now, I think we're going to probably break early. We're probably going to be done school at the end of April here, and we're just going to or maybe we'll be done nowish. I'm not sure, but I think we're going to break early for summer, and we're just going to spend the summer how we always do. We go on adventures. We are very unschooly in the summer. Like, they're always learning, but we hone down and we hone on to our conservation stuff, and we go to classes and like any learning opportunity or like volunteer opportunity that we can get our hands on. That's what we'll be doing this summer, so I'm really excited for that. Lots of camping, lots of adventures. And that will be a very enriching summer for them. So I'm really not too worried, especially since, like I said, because Mackenzie's a grade ahead, we have this kind of time to play around and see what works, because if it didn't work, we didn't really lose anything. She's not going to be behind, so that's really good. Grayson will be starting Waldorf kindergarten 100%. That's what we're doing with him. I love Waldorf for the younger years. It just requires, for me, a little bit more research for the older grades. So that is what we're doing. I hope this was somewhat interesting. Again, if you have a question, let me know. And we will talk to you guys soon, but next week like this, for next week's Sip and Share. Cody and I plan to film the first Mr. and Mrs. M vlogcast back tonight, because Thursdays work for us for filming. And I'm thinking I'll probably post those on Sundays, possibly Mondays, but I'm leaning more towards Sundays because that's not a fun day for me to edit or necessarily film. That's our family like relax day, because it's pretty much the only guaranteed day Cody has off. So I'm thinking I'll just have the vlogcast edited and ready to be uploaded, scheduled for Sundays, and that'll make my life a little bit easier. So that's kind of what's going on with that, so you can expect that soon. Anyway, thanks for watching, you guys, and I will see you when I see you. Bye!